topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hi, this is Shelby, and welcome to my show, Learning to Dance in the Rain. This is a space where we dive deeply into life's toughest challenges, providing insights and guidance to meaningful conversations to help you navigate through the storms of your life. And I thank you for joining me today as I discuss a very painful subject, which is ghosting. And I'll get into that in a minute. But I have a couple of other things to say. I have sunshine here in Michigan for the first time in, oh golly, it seems like a year, but I know it wasn't that long. But happy Thanksgiving on Thursday. I hope that you have a very nice day, and we can think about the things that we're thankful for. Saturday, I'm thankful for because I'm going to be in Niles, Michigan at the library. I think that's where it's going to be. And it's going to be a Meet the Author event. And I just yesterday got my Scams book. My Scams book back published, and that is available on Amazon.com. And I hope that, and my other book, Learning to Dance in the Rain, is in progress. I hope it'll be published very soon, within the next week or two. And I hope that you might go to Amazon and order them and enjoy them. Learning to Dance in the Rain was the inspiration for this show where we talk about the storms of life and how to get through them. Thank you for joining me today. As I mentioned, I want to talk about a very painful subject. And I personally have experienced it actually many times. I was on the internet dating sites for about, off and on for 6 years. Did have some relationships in there and put my subscription on hold. So I wasn't a failure, and now I have found someone that I think we're going to make it it's a very calm relationship, and it's a very exciting one at the same time. Anyway, what is ghosting? 10 years ago, we didn't know. I've really never heard of a ghosting. And in fact, I really didn't hear the word or know what it really meant until about 3 years ago, when one of my friends was engaged. She had met this man at the dances that we go to. And the two of them had fallen in love very quickly and got engaged and were going to get married right away. And then they decided, well, maybe they ought to wait, get to know each other better. And so then they had a very long engagement. And all of a sudden, they broke up, and then they stopped. And then got back together again. And then a new word came up, actually. She wasn't ghosted, but she wanted closure. And we're going to talk about that today also. Because in ghosting, I think, what is ghosting? Ghosting is when you have been together with someone and for an, short time or maybe a long time. And all of a sudden, you don't hear from them anymore. You thought things were going swell and you might possibly enter into a relationship with this person. And then all of a sudden, nothing. And I have to say, yep, I know how that feels because it happened to me. I didn't know that word. I think it said the coin in my readings that the word ghosting started appearing about 2006. Well, okay, I didn't even get into the single world until 16. So I guess that the word had been around for a long time. But when I finally heard the word, I thought, that sure explains why I haven't heard from Harry or I haven't heard from Larry. And I there was a few others, but some of them hurt, some of them didn't. And I learned some of the things we're going to talk about today. Some of those things. So it doesn't have to be uh, a possible love relationship that is suddenly ending. It could be a friendship. Um, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. It could also happen professionally. And so ghosting, being ghosted can lead to significant emotional distress, including feelings of rejection, feelings of our own self worth. Okay, so here I have. I was dating this man for about 2 months, and things were going very well. I thought he had told me that I was the only woman that had interested him that he met. Actually, the only person that he had really met on dating site. I later found out that he had scheduled a date with somebody and he had showed up. And then when he saw her, he turned around and walked away because she was not what she said she was. In other words, she had sent a picture that was rather old and she was thinner. Or maybe it was a picture of her sister. She thought maybe that would be more attractive than one of her own. Anyway, this man recognized her and didn't talk to her, just turned around and left. Well, you know what? I think looking back on my situation with him, my really short relationship with him was maybe a red flag. Um, why I don't think that was a very nice thing to do. And later on, after we had been dating for a couple 3 months, and um, he said he enjoyed being with me, and he really liked me, and he wanted to be with me more. And on the way home, he even texted me to tell me that, um, gee, he had really enjoyed our time. Yeah, so I get home and I text back, and we text back and forth. I mean, this was, I thought going to go somewhere, and he didn't respond this time. And oh no, what's that? Well, why? And it really messes with your mind. Um, It hurts. I really liked this guy. I thought maybe he was the one for me for the rest of my life, but he disappeared. There was another fellow that I had gone out with a couple of times, and we had scheduled a date on a Monday in November. Actually, I guess it was about this time. And so my son, after I had made the date, let's schedule this date with this person, my son texted me and asked me to come to North Carolina and help pack his stuff because he was moving back to Michigan. And he needed me, and I wanted to be with him. So I went. We were going to pack them up that weekend, and I was going to drive his car home. He was going to drive the truck with the stuff in it, and I'd be home Sunday. We would drive home on Sunday, and Monday I would then have this date with this man that I really liked him. So anyway, what happened was I had an accident. I was carrying one of the boxes up into the Penske truck, 4 feet off the ground. And I made a bad step at the top. I thought I was stepping into the truck, and I stepped out into nothing. I went down, I screamed. Oh my, I had always wondered if I could scream. And I found out I could. And my son and his friend came running. Mom, what happened? And I just was breathless. I couldn't even talk. They found me on the ground, on my back, between the boxes. I had hit nothing going down. I landed flat on the ground, even though there were boxes on both sides of me. But I found I couldn't move. Um, so I have to let this guy know that probably I'm not going to be home as I had planned, and we'd have to reschedule the date. He never replied. He just disappeared. I thought, here I am, flat in bed, hurting, um, and I really needed someone to talk to me, encourage me, and so on. And he disappeared. So that was another one. Both of those happened with around the same time. Actually, I was seeing both of them. So what does it mean when somebody ghosts you? Why do they ghost you? Why do they do this? I regurgitated. I coined that word in my book, Learning to Dance in the Rain. Regurgitating, because in our minds, we're doing exactly what the cows do when they eat their food and they chew on it a while. We think about that problem. That why did he ghost me? What happened? What did I do wrong? And then we put it away. And the cows, of course, they swallow. And then what happens? It comes back up. And that thought comes, something happens. And all of a sudden we're thinking about it again and worrying and wondering, what is he all right? Is he okay? We don't know. Maybe we might send another text message to say, are you okay? I think I did that. One of them wrote back and said, yes, he had emergency. His daughter needed him, and she was a couple hours away. So he was going to help her. But the other one did not reply. for 6 months. Then finally one day I got a message from him. And I was really skeptical at first. And, but he said he was going to be at the Firekeepers casino at such and such time on such and such date. And if I was interested in seeing him, he'd be happy if I would come. So I did. We had fun again. We had that date. We had maybe another one, I don't know. And I asked him, well, where are we going here with this? I mean, I didn't hear from you for 6 months. Well, he was busy with his family. He had a big family. He had taken a couple of trips and so on. Well, that told me I was on the back burner. And actually, he told me he couldn't make me priority because he had 4 daughters. And so I'm going to talk about the second guy. I also heard back from him about a year or so later. And he wanted to see me. Now this guy, I don't know, should I give him another chance? I thought about it. And then I thought, well, you really do like him. Maybe it'll work out. So I went and met him again at the casino. And the other casino, there are 2 casinos, one east of me and one west of me. And and we had a really, really enjoyable afternoon, I have to say. I enjoyed being with him very much. And he was charming. And but you know what? He told me, yeah, he liked me and he'd like to be friends and see me once in a while and so on. And he didn't ghost me for a long time, but we were, we lived far apart, and so we would meet halfway several times during the next year. But I knew that neither one of these was really going to be the long-term relationship that I thought I wanted. So why would they do this? Well, some guys or women can ghost a man just as easily as a man does a woman. So it's not gender related. But okay, let's think about it. I decided both the first times that, well, he's either not ready to make a commitment, or he didn't want to. He was done with me. He didn't want to see me anymore, which both of them kind of indicated that, maybe. But my friends told me that Harry was a player and he wasn't what I thought he was, and they didn't think he treated me right. I didn't either, by ghosting me. And so maybe they're afraid of commitment, maybe of getting too close. Maybe they have other commitments like Harry did with his family. Um, Maybe they just decided that you weren't the one for them. Maybe at first they were attracted to you, and then as you get used to someone and being around them, you can tell, well, maybe I don't. Maybe this isn't the one. Maybe I should look further. So I know that it's very painful because I was into it. Well, at least I can think of a third guy too that ghosted me. and also came back later, 2 years later, and expected to pick up our relationship where it left off. And I said, no. By that time, I had learned, no, I wasn't going to do that anymore. So goodbye. So I guess I'm telling you that if you are ghosted, this is what it means. It means I don't want to be with you anymore. It means I need some more time to think about this. It means something else is more important than you are. Aha. That one hurt, didn't it? But you know what? We think, oh, I'm not good enough. I did something wrong and turned them off. I found out that wasn't true in either of these three cases. They liked me. They were attracted to me. They wanted to be with me sometimes, but they didn't want the relationship that I wanted. So actually, when somebody ghosts you, I want you to remember that it's not you necessarily, and probably it's not you at all. Because it's about them. It's about them. And I think, well, in studying for today's talk, I found that if someone ghosts you, they're telling you a lot about their own personality. So it's a red flag. Is that the way that person treats other people that aren't related to them, I suppose? Like the one guy who had a date planned with this woman and walked into the restaurant, saw her, and saw that she wasn't what she had represented herself to be. So he turned around and left without saying anything to her. I mean, is that the way he treats people? And then he kind of did the same thing with me, even though he said he really liked me. I didn't hear from him for a long time. And you know, this happened with that person over and over and over again. And even though this last time, I mean, I met this guy 6 years ago. And I can count more than 5 times. I can, maybe even more than 2 times when I thought he was over me and not going to see me again. And he called back. And the funny thing was that I did go back and we did have lunch together several times. I liked the guy. I liked to be with him. But I found in every case that, yes, okay, he didn't follow through with what he told me he was going to do. And I didn't hear from him for a long time. And then I'd hear from him again. And I thought, it's a shame that somebody can, like that, ghosted me, but still came back. Now, I think there were others that probably did the same, we were writing. Yes, there was one. I can remember, and he wasn't very far away. But we went out once, and oh boy, he said, uh, "You're the one." I really. He got home, and the next messages were getting shorter and shorter, and I found out his daughter was very upset with him for thinking about finding a partner, and so although we did text a few times after we met that one time, the messages got shorter and farther apart. And then finally, I just quit writing to him and he quit writing. I don't know. Is that ghosting? I didn't say goodbye to him. It just kind of faded away. So there's lots of ways that this does it. And yes, it hurts. But I listened to country music. I like to hear the songs, sad songs, happy songs. Um, my son once said he had told a friend that my life is a country song. My business failed, and so did my marriage. And that stuck with me a long time ago. That, okay, country songs are that way. But anyway, Alan Jackson, and I can't think of the name of the song. I heard it just a couple of days ago, but the line was, "Don't you think that I deserve to hear you say goodbye?" Now that songwriter, doesn't it kind of sound like he was being ghosted? um, and I thought, okay, so how do you deal with this? Let's Well, there's another song, and of course, I'm sure there are adult songs, but I'm thinking of a song in a movie that made it big, and it's called "Let It Go." Is it Frosty? I can't remember the name of the film, but there are a couple of them. But yeah, that's what you have to do when somebody ghosts you. You can either right away say, "Hey, okay, she doesn't want to be with me, and so I am going to let it go." Yeah, we might have liked to have that person say goodbye to us. It isn't that they probably wouldn't even come up with a reason. Now, they're not going to say that, "Well, your hair's the wrong color," or "Your smile's crooked and I'm not attracted to you," or who knows what the reason is. Who cares? Don't keep hanging on to something that is gone. Oh, that reminds me of some advice my brother gave to me long ago. Um, I really I saw this guy and on the dating site, and we started writing each other. Oh man, he was a writer, he said, and boy, he could. And I thought, oh boy, this really sounds like this is the one for me. And and I wrote back, "Oh, okay." And I finally was kind of pushing a little bit to meet in public, and he disappeared. He came back a few months later and said hello, and we chatted a couple bit on the internet, the dating site, and then he disappeared too. So I think number one, if you think about that song, "Don't you think I deserve to hear you say goodbye?" I think that is a good message for people who who are guilty of ghosting another person. So if you decide you don't want to know this person after all, just say, I think we're not a match. And so I'm going to look further. And that's going to hurt. Yeah, the person receiving it. But you know what? It's good advice. I had another friend, I told him about the fella who had said he couldn't make me a number one in his life. And he said, Shelby, he did you a favor. Now you don't have to waste any more time with him or thinking about him. Let it go and move on, move forward. And I think that was good advice. And there was another thing I wanted to say, my brother said. And I had gone to Colorado to spend some time with him and his wife. And I was telling about, oh boy, this man, I really like him, but we haven't met yet. And then all of a sudden, he disappeared. And I don't know what to do. My brother looked at me and he says, Shelby, why would you want somebody who doesn't want you? And for me, that was a good thing, good advice, good thing for him to tell me. Stop thinking about people that hurt other people by ghosting them, and there's somebody else out there. There's somebody that's good and loving and kind, and it may take a while. Let's see, it took 6 years and several ghosting episodes, and before I met Rick. And 6 years. It was 6 years, yeah. Um, but it's worth the wait. Yeah, when you get older, like we are, everybody's got some problem, medical problem, or some ailments. I'm going to say it in plural, ailments, because it seems like they come in pairs or threes or whatever. But you either give up or you keep looking. And I kept looking. Every time I faced rejection, I said, okay, it's about them. It's not something that's wrong with me. I am worth more than that. I am better than that. I just received the message from the first guy again just a couple of weeks ago. And he wanted to know if he already had found out that, yes, I was in a relationship now already. But this time he said something that was kind of interesting. He said, you're lucky to have found somebody who loves you. And I am. I feel blessed. I feel like I have always been blessed. And rejection, it sounds like a harsh word. It sounds like a word that, like punishment. Oh my goodness, But it isn't that way. It just means it wasn't the right time for that person. That it means they got other issues. Probably they don't even think about you anymore. So why waste your time thinking about them? So let it go. Say goodbye. Mr. No Contact, Mrs. No Contact, and so on. Okay, let's see if I have in my notes any other. I had a couple of closure. A lot of people think, but I need closure. I have that friend I think I mentioned earlier who was engaged and somehow it got broken. And I think when my friend started talking, well, I need closure. And I thought, oh, that's what you call it. Hmm. I had not really thought about that word before. And here she was wanting closure. And I think she finally got it. But it didn't get her ex back. They decided they were better apart than together. And it was not soon, it wasn't very long after that. She met somebody else and they were married and they seem very happy. Now, there was a another story I wanted to tell you. Uh, Also, I see here above the let him go is the grieving because yeah, when you lose somebody you like and they don't want to participate with you anymore, it hurts. Yeah, and it is sad. But you know what? Just say I'm I'm better than that. Okay. Yes, I miss them. Yes, I'm sad. But we move on. We make other friends. And I forgot to say that, sometimes people have strong friendships. Maybe you were a friend with another person. If you're a woman, you had a best girlfriend. If you're a man, you had a best pal. And all of a sudden, they stop calling and stop talking. I can't think of that really happening to me, except after I got into a relationship. The single person is unable to um, it's not that she or he is unable to accept, I don't think, but if they are uncomfortable being around you, knowing that you have what they want, a relationship, and they can't seem to find it. So it's kind of, I find it kind of difficult to have a good friend relationship when I'm in a loving relationship with a man. I don't know if that happens to everybody or not, but um, my my friend that one of my friends that brought this up to me, she said to me after she found out that I had written a book, and she said, "Well," and I think, well, no, it was the book, and she said, "Well, I guess something about you won't be interested in us anymore." And I said to her, "You know what? In a lot of cases, it's not well, she was referring to you're going to be rich and famous and all of this, and you're not going to have anything to do with me anymore." And because I'm not. And I said, It's not usually, I don't think, it is the celebrity person, the person who has gone ahead that gives up her past friendships. I think it's those friends who think like what you're thinking and stop calling them. They stop trying to be with them. And it goes both ways, I think. I they don't call you and you don't call them because you're too busy. They kept saying about me, well, you're so busy. You're always busy. I said, I want you to know that I am never too busy to be with you or to talk with you. You are my friend, and I want to maintain that friendship. So, but you may have to call me. Don't just say, oh, she's too busy. I'll not do it. If you're free and you want to talk to me, then you call me. I'm flexible. My job is flexible. Yes, I keep busy. I don't want to be bored. I don't sit around doing nothing. Um, but it's up to both people to keep a friendship or relationship going. It's both people must decide I am going to be positive rather than negative. And that's hard, is it? And so, oh, well, you know, who are you? What is it? Polly? What was that little girl that was always so positive? Anyway, you can be down and depressed and you can be negative, think negatively about everything, or you can say, no, I'm not going to do that. I am going to be a positive person. You only have one life and it's short. Why waste it with all the negative? There's so much negative. And I think that had a lot to do with me deciding to do the podcast. Is I would like to help people think happy thoughts instead of negative thoughts. I would like people to learn to be resilient. Yes, we're going to have disappointments. Yes, we're going to be rejected sometimes. Yes, if there's negative, you turn on the radio and the television and the news and everything is so negative. Oh, I'm going to leave the United States now that Trump is president. Oh my gosh. Where do they think they're going to have a better life? I'd like to know that. And that's one thing that comes into my mind. There's no better place than the United States to live in, as far as I'm concerned. And anybody that says, for any reason, well, I'm going to move to some other country, well, good riddance. We don't need those kind of people in our country. And we don't need those people who ghost other people. The kind and courteous thing to do is just tell them straight out, I'm not ready for a relationship. You don't have to overanalyze it. You don't have to regurgitate it, think about it, whatever. Why did they ghost me? Quit worrying about it. Who cares? Should I give a ghoster another chance? That's up to you. That's up to you entirely. Do you want to be friends occasionally with this person? What does that person want? Does he just want to play? Do you just want to play? Okay. It's up to you. That's your decision. Or do you want to be in a loving relationship? Does he want to love somebody? Does he want to, or she, do they want to love? Or do they want to play? Just play. And what do you want? What are your goals and your needs? Then you have to make that decision on your own. But don't wait around for somebody who has ghosted you. Don't wait for them to come back. You go on. You go on with your search. You go on having a good time, meeting people, making friends, doing things, bowling. It's not much fun to go bowling alone. So you meet someone who likes to go bowling. Well, go bowling. Isn't it better to be active and to enjoy someone's company or your own company? You know, one time I was angry at my husband. We had a fight, and I had to leave for sure. I wasn't leaving forever, but I had to be alone. I got in a car and I started driving, and Robin Williams was on, had just opened up, or had just his movie, Good Morning Vietnam, I believe, or something like that. And so I thought, well, maybe that'll make me feel better. So I went into this movie at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or three, whatever it was, and sat down. And I was the only person in that place, in that whole movie theater. I sat, well, I'm near the back and I'm looking down at all these empty rows, but you know what? I got interested in that movie and I laughed. Oh man, remember today. And I didn't care that I was alone. In fact, it was fine. I had fun. And when the movie was over and I went home, I I felt good. And I found out that I was alone sometimes in the movie theater after my husband died. And yes, I cried. I'll bet, and that's okay. 6 years later, after my husband died, and I still cry once in a while. But that's life, part of life, part of life. You may have some other issue that's bothering you. Anyway, I think our time is just about up. I wanted to again thank you for sticking with me through this discussion of ghosting. And I hope that it was inspirational for you, gives you comfort, and helps you to decide to let it go and move forward. And hey, if you are near Niles, Michigan on Saturday, come on over in the morning. I'm sure it's open around 9 o'clock, probably to 2 or something like that, at the library, and come and see Shelby Wagner. I'll be there with my books to sell available, and you can meet me as a radio TV personality, as host of live, learning to dance in the rain. Coming up in December, can you believe that? The day after Christmas in 2024, I began this podcast. um, wow. Was it really? Was it really? Uh, Almost a year ago. So um, I can't believe it. So we have, by the time I get through with the Christmas one this year, I will have been a year old as a podcast host. And it's been fun. And I'm looking forward to the month of December. How about you? My favorite time of year. Anyway, I think it's about time for me to sign off. And thank you again for being here with me and sticking it out. And um, let's learn to be resilient and know that it is okay to dance, even though we're sad at times. Bye. I'll see you next week with the pastor and celebrations. Bye now.